Hello, hello, lovely people. Welcome into That Sounds Gay. My name is Jer, and I will be your podcast host for a short time. That Sounds Gay is a podcast for queer people and people who enjoy queer people. We talk about pretty much everything around here. But can I say something? And this is something that, frankly, it kind of drives me up the wall. It kind of drives me up the wall. And for anybody who's in food service, anybody listening, I commend what you do. I've been in food service. I hated every second of it. Customers in food service are the worst people in the world. The worst. They're hangry, they're annoying, they're mean, they're grouchy, they're every negative word that you could possibly think of to talk about the negative customer experience. The worst. So I get it. I have so much respect for people that work in food service. People that work in food service, please stop putting ketchup in my bag that I did not ask for. Please stop. And I love ketchup, okay? I love ketchup. I really do. I would put ketchup on pretty much anything, and I have no grand delusions. I am in the United States, the land of ketchup and ranch dressing. I had a Mexican father who really wanted to be Caucasian. We're not going to get into that. And put ketchup on everything. We would put ketchup on eggs that were mixed with hot dog. You know, you'd cook up your hot dog and then you put the egg in there. Then you put ketchup in that. I think we would, my brother at one point put ketchup on ramen noodles. My dad would put ketchup in mac and cheese, which actually is really good. It's really good. It's very Caucasian. It's very Caucasian. Anybody out there that's Latinx like me, please don't judge me. It's so good. He would make the blue box mac and cheese and would put ketchup all in there right at the end. And then you stir it all together, and the cheese and the ketchup just are so good together. My brother would put ketchup on pizza sometimes and would dip the crust in pizza, in ketchup, the crust in ketchup. My dad put ketchup on everything. So I have an appreciation for it. I really do. I love ketchup. I put it on a lot of stuff still. It's a great, solid condiment. Some good old Heinz. It's solid, you know? Look at the material, right? But when I go to a restaurant, you know, I go and I haven't had Del Taco in a really long time. I had a bad experience last time I went. But, you know, you go and you're like, can I get the mild sauce? And then you open up your bag for your tacos and you got ketchup. What are people putting ketchup on their chicken soft tacos? Are people putting ketchup on chicken soft tacos? Because if you are, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you in the parking lot, and I want to find out what is going on in your life that you have decided to soil, nay, obliterate a delicious piece of food with ketchup. It's comparable to putting ketchup on ice cream. Like, you are in a place that is so dark that I think we need to find therapy to talk about why you're putting ketchup in a taco. So I just want to know what service worker is like, oh, you know what this bitch needs? That we need ketchup. We need ketchup for their tacos. I get it if you maybe go to McDonald's and they put some ketchup in there because you got some fries, but it's always an excessive amount of ketchup. You know, you reach in there and there's more ketchup packets than your French fries. You know, it's like you got a small fry or medium fry, whatever you get, large if you're like me, and the ketchup packets are more content than the fries in the bag. Who needs that much ketchup? You're drowning it. You're taking milk and putting cereal in it. And that's what you're doing. You're taking the ketchup and filling up a bowl and then pouring a couple sprinkles of French fries in there. Who needs that much liquidation of a tomato in their life? It's unnecessary. It really is. And the thing that agitates me the most is you'll be like, can I get barbecue sauce? Can I get ranch? One of my favorite condiments is the buttermilk ranch from Jack in the Box. I really turn up to that. I've said before, I am a Jack in the Box simp through and through. I really love it. I think everything about it is spectacular. And I love that ranch dressing. And I'll ask for extra, you know? I'll ask for tons because I love ranch. I will take 2 packets of the ranch dressing and I'll put that on my burger, sometimes 3 if they give me enough. I love a barbecue sauce. Any barbecue sauce is always good. It's always delicious. Jack in the Box has this lime cilantro type sauce. It's really good with their tacos. You know, I turn up to the like mild sauce from Taco Bell. There's good sauces every single restaurant that you go to that's fast food, right? And you'll ask for it, and there's always that one diva who has just drank so much corporate Kool-Aid and will say, it's another 50 cents if you want a barbecue sauce packet. Why do you care so much? Are they paying you to do this? Are they threatening you? Are they taking it out of your check? If you give me 2 barbecue sauce packets, are they going to reach into your pay stub and take out money and say, well, you gave that one homosexual on the 3rd, you gave him 2 barbecue sauce cups, so we got to take it out of your pay? Are they comping you? Is this coming out of your check? Why do you care so much? I used to do food service. I worked at a little like burger, pizza, sandwich, salads, the whole enchilada. It was like a lot of things that were all rolled into one at my college campus. It was a thing that I did for maybe 6-7 months, maybe. And, you know, students would come up and they would say, oh, can I get ranch? Can I get barbecue sauce? And my manager would always say, oh, it's another 25 cents. He's not making commission on these barbecue sauce packets. He's not getting paid more money to hawk this barbecue sauce. We're all getting paid the same rate. I mean, my manager maybe made like $1 more than I did, maybe. You know, the people that really drink the corporate Kool-Aid and are like, I am going to charge this diva here. I'm going to make sure that they pay up. Why do you care? I would always ask when my manager wasn't around, because, you know, I'm a good employee who does what I'm supposed to do when people are watching. But as soon as they're not, I do what I want to do. And that's the mentality I've always had when it comes to work. Do what you're supposed to do when you're being observed. And then do your job the way that you know you're supposed to do it when you're not being watched. So I would, you know, they would come up and they'd say, oh, can I get this? How much do you want, baby? How much do you need or require? Because I know for me, you know, I say like, how much ketchup are you going to drown your fries in? But that's really how I am with barbecue sauce. You know, if you give me a large fry, I want 3, maybe 4 barbecue sauce packets so I can take each fry, submerge it in the dip, get all of that sauce on the entire fry, and then it's coated all the way down, you know, that it's dipping down into my fingertips. I want that. I want to be able to experience everything about the saucy goodness and this French fry, this burger, this sandwich, whatever it is. I want all of it to just have this lovely sauce all over it. Because I turn up to the sauce. I really do. And I know how I am. And I don't know how others are. So if others are like, you know what, I only need 1. I just want it as a light dip. I want a hint. I want to poke it in there and maybe get a small bit, because the most important part to me is the fry. The most important part to me is the meat, the onion ring, the tater tot, whatever it is. They just want to whisper a little Club 96 for their thing. They're dipping their condiment in, or with the condiment, you know? So I would always ask, how much do you want? And, you know, they'd say, oh, 2, 3, 4. One person said 5, and I was like, that's a lot, but I don't care. Like, live your life. If you want to take this shit home and you want to put it in your refrigerator so you can use it later, because that's nice too. Sometimes you get a sauce that you really like, and you think, wow, this would be so good if I dipped a corn dog in this. You know, those little, like, I think they're Dyson, those little Dyson corn dogs, or I could put this on a ham sandwich at home. I remember I would do that with, you know, those chicken patties. You used to be able to get them really inexpensively, the fried chicken patties. You can make like your own chicken sandwich at home. I used to love loading up on sauces from restaurants, taking it home and putting it on that chicken patty, because sometimes Hidden Valley's just, it doesn't hit right. You know, it's fine, it's good. Hidden Valley's not bad, but sometimes it's just not what you want it to be for the thing that you're dipping it into. So I don't know. I don't care if you're going to take it home and add it to your other food, whatever. As long as you're not asking for the box, the shipping crate of barbecue sauce and ranch dressing that we have in the back. As long as you're not asking for that or something ridiculous, you know, open up my bag and toss it all in there. I'll probably accommodate you as long as you're nice. So I'll never understand asking a service worker, can I have 2 ranch? Can I have 3 barbecue sauce? And can I please also have a sweet and sour too? And they say, that's going to be extra. But don't worry, we're going to fill up the bottom third of your bag with ketchup packets. So not only are you not going to know what to do with all this ketchup that you don't need or asked for, but 2, you're going to pollute the environment, because all you're going to do is throw this away. You're not going to rip open each one of those individual ketchup packets and pour them into your ketchup bottle that you got at home. And then all that waste, you didn't need it. Somebody else who wants to drown their egg rolls in ketchup, their soft tacos, their chicken fingers, whatever they're dipping all of that ketchup into, let those people have it. The ones who say, give me a butt ton of ketchup. I want you to give me so much. It's going to be coming out of my wig like Sasha Velour in season 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race at the finale. I want to be able to shake my gloves and ketchup packets come out. I want to take off my shoes and there's a ketchup packet in there. I want to go to work and when I open my lunchbox, there are ketchup packets. Give the ketchup packets to those girlies. Give it to them. They want it. I don't. And most of us don't. I think I've said enough. Let's get into this episode. Now listen up. If you're looking for an exit, I'll make it clear. There are 2 in the front, but only 1 in the rear. Not the silence. Just
intriguing. You've made choices.
I love Glamazonian Airways. You're shady if you don't.
You love what you love. It's okay. It's legal. Because I mean, if bad taste was illegal, then well,
I would be in jail a bunch of times. I'd be completely out of the job. We are here to discuss season 5 of RuPaul's Drag Race. And I want to say, this is one of my top seasons. I don't know how y'all feel about it.
I personally really love this season.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It has so many big personalities, and it's just 1 punch, 2 punch, 3 punch, and you're just like, give me more.
Yeah. It's every single episode. I wanted a little bit longer of a season. I could have honestly gone 5 more episodes, which there are not many seasons that I would have wanted that for. But let's review the cast. We have, in order of elimination, we have Miss Penetration, Serena Cha-Cha, Montica Beverly Hills, who was on the current season of All Stars and unfortunately was eliminated. It was so early. Vivian Panay, who I worked with at a previous theme park. I worked with her one time. Honey Mahogany, Linesha Sparks, Jade Jolie, the only queen to ever do a cross franchise and have gone to a different franchise. Ivy Winters, Alyssa Edwards, Coco Montrese, Detox, Roxy Andrews, Alaska, and Jinx Monsoon. do we have a favorite queen from this list?
I would say Vivian Panay, because working with you, well, credit where credit's due.
What does that mean?
Also, I do love that you spoiled All Stars for us a little bit.
What? Okay, listen.
Yes.
I assumed that you knew.
Season 8 of All Stars?
I assumed that you knew. Em kind of already knows some stuff that's going on.
Unfortunately, Gran, I have watched that episode, but it is a baby season. It's brand new.
Shade
Brand
sounds.
new don't mean that it has to be spoiled already. Teach it a life lesson early on. Don't turn out like jermeeth.
I just like witnessed heartbreak firsthand.
I know. Every episode I've been upset. Every episode.
Like with this podcast, or
Well, that too. I've really regretted having somebody as a host. I don't know why it ever occurred to me that I should invite somebody on here. Oh my God, Grin, wait, you're still here?
what? Huh? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
That sounds about right.
I'm sorry that I can't give you your constant need to be validated.
I do need to be validated all the time or I wither away. I have
Well, that's what
anxious
Twitch was
attachment. Listen, that too. I have anxious attachment. But from this cast, I love Alyssa. I know that she was not at her full power in this season. I don't think Alyssa had any idea that she was funny. I don't think she knew that she was as talented as she was. But I turn up to Alyssa Edwards, always and forever.
I absolutely love Alyssa.
Yeah.
I had a really fun time watching Jade Jolie too. Like, there's something about her that she's like secretly spicy.
Yeah.
You know? Like, she tries to be so sweet and so kind, but she's actually super, super cheat in a way. And I love it.
I tell you like a little bit about her journey on Dragula, not a ton, but
Yeah. Let's hear it.
so she went on Dragula. She was on season 4. Yeah, season 4. And there's this challenge that they have every now and again. It's called the Key of Life and Death. If you find the key, you can either save yourself from extermination, life, or put someone else up for extermination, death. And she gets the key, and there's one girl in the cast that she doesn't like and puts her up for extermination. And is like, I just don't really think this girl is giving it, and I think that she should go home. So putting her in the bottom.
Yeah. That's Jade Jolie for you.
Yes.
Also good TV.
It was great
real.
TV.
But I do agree Alyssa was not at her most powerful this season just because, yeah, I think she didn't realize her own potential. That and also the drama with Coco, both of them were dragged down by it, which I think the producers were loving in so many ways. But when we see these queens, like, later on, like, they're so vibrant and it's so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Versus this season, it's sort of like watching a couple argue and bicker and just... Ooh, but give me more.
Were you eating it up?
I really was, and I was so looking forward to like them concluding the drama and like getting over it. And Alyssa Edwards now makes it a point to contact anyone she has even the potential to have drama with to clear things up, which I just find so admirable.
Yeah.
But I think the queen that I most show up for would have to be Alaska, just because so weird.
Hi.
I
love it.
love that. I love Alaska. I love her little hi. Like, I say that all the time, and nobody in my real life knows what I'm talking about, but I do, and that's what matters.
I think Alaska said that she got the hi from 2 girls who used to do Drag Race reviews. I don't know if they still do, but they used to do them up until season 4. And obviously Alaska was a fan of the show, and she would watch them, and she watched all the ones that Sharon was in, And so she wanted to pay homage to these two girls. And I think that's also really cute, too, that Alaska was paying attention to what the fans were doing.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah. And
That's sweet.
you talked
What are we
about...
quoting from this show?
From this show?
Yeah, what are we quoting?
Kind of everything.
Mostly your tears.
That too. I sit down after each one and I cry.
Aw, there. Is that enough validation?
It is. It'll be enough for me later. You had talked about Coco and Alyssa, and I think we had mentioned in season 4 that Alyssa was cast, made it to like top 15, and then called her up and were like, so do you know a Coco Montrese? And she was like, who's he? I don't know who he is. Which I love that Alyssa calls Coco he the whole freaking season. And then they canceled Alyssa coming on season 4 and brought her in for 5. Do you think Alyssa would have done better on 4 if they hadn't tried to do the drama thing?
Oh, fully. Like I said, like the drama dragged them both down.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, I don't know if the producers intended it to get messy, but I think they enjoyed it. They enjoyed their evil, diabolical engineering.
Yes. And this just happened after All Stars 1. So production meddling is in its like peak right now. Did you feel like it felt produced this season? Or do you feel like it came off kind of natural?
I just watched the first episode of season 5, like literally 30 minutes ago. And the introduction of Coco, she was the very last queen to be walked into the workroom.
Yeah.
And it was so theatrical.
It really
Like,
was. And then Alyssa,
was-
all the shots of her looking.
Right. You could tell that's what they're planning, like this whole season around, is this is that bit of drama that is gonna get them through the whole season. If none of these other queens do anything else, they can rely on Alyssa and Coco.
Yeah.
Oh, fully. This would have been like RuPaul's like season of CocoLyssa. And if it had not been for all these big queens, we would have seen a lot more of just focusing on them like screaming at each other or something.
That's all Untucked is. Untucked is Alyssa
Right.
and Coco back and forth for like 7 or 8 episodes. And every single Untucked, they are like, okay, we're going to agree that we don't like each other and that's fine. We're just going to go our separate ways. And then they bicker again. And they're like, I thought we agreed yesterday that we weren't going to do this anymore. Okay, well, I'm fine. I just don't like you. Everything's better now. We're friends. JK, I hate you. And it's just back and forth. It's exhausting.
That would have been the main show.
Yeah.
That would have legitimately been the main show if producers were not pulled away towards other big personalities.
If Relaska Talks had not formed. Yeah.
What was the other big drama? That's true.
Jade and everybody. A
Jade.
Relaska Talks. The showmance. That wasn't a showmance. Can we talk about that really quick? Because I was just watching Snatch Game like a day and a half ago. And I realized during the editing, or not Snatch Game, the perfume one, when Ivy got the phone call home. And they do that cut where they show the coming up. And it's Jinx saying, I have a crush on Ivy Winters. And then Ivy looking at her phone call and saying, I love you. And they make it seem like she has this boyfriend at home and that there's going to be this big drama. And then that goes nowhere. And they edge us all the way to the finale to reveal that Ivy does have a long-term boyfriend. And her and Jinx were just friends.
Yep. And Jinx being like, I was sad and disappointed, but I love Ivy as a friend from a distance because now there's a restraining order.
It was just so much, but it was like constant edging of these storylines. And like you brought up, is that this big drama, they really made it seem very theatrical of that big battle, that lip sync battle and all the tears and the resolve, that not happening until the near end of the season. And then
Yeah.
Coco ultimately going home. they really tried to make that like a TV moment.
Didn't Alyssa and Coco go home like back-to-back weeks as well?
Yeah. Alyssa went
Yeah,
home
so
the telenovela challenge. I can't believe that was greenlit, by the way. And then Coco went home the next episode.
It kind of feels like the. Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it kind of feels like the drama like led up to that moment where they're gonna have the big TV finale of like, one of them gets sent home,
Right.
and finally we have a conclusion, and it's just like, oh, it's over.
Right.
Right.
Well then,
And then it totally shifts. We're like,
it does.
oh wait, we forgot. That's not even the villain of the season. Relaska Talks versus Jinx is the
Yes,
villain.
I was about to say.
Exactly. Now let's get to the real meat and potatoes of the season.
Right.
You know?
That was just the pre-boss to the final boss.
If you thought we were gonna milk CocoLyssa, well, you haven't seen us with Relaxatox.
Rolodex. Relaxatox.
Relaxatoxes.
Just constant. I think Alaska has, you know how she comes in on those the episodes and she's got like random words on her shirt? I think it spells out when you put them all together, it shows up like the Alaska Thunderfuck experience or something.
Oh my god.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's some time investment that I just do
Right.
not have.
It was a great little Easter egg, but it would have been great if it had sounded like the Rolodex experience or something, because she was individually taping that every day. But they were great TV.
They really were.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the clique, because season 4 we didn't really have one. We had the Heathers in season 3, and I don't know if Heathers was necessarily like, we're gonna get to the top like in Survivor, but I feel like, and feel free to disagree, I feel like Relaska Talks was sort of built with the intention of, we're gonna be the Heathers but better.
Oh, fully. I think it was basically like we saw all the stuff that went on screen, but I'm sure there was some talking off screen about like how they're going to get to the top, and it's going to be the 3 of them up there, and one of them is going to be crowned.
Yeah.
It fully went from like clique to alliance.
Yes, that's a great way
Yes.
of describing it.
And I think it sort of worked opposite of their favor, because what it ended up doing was shining a light on how good Jinx was solo.
Oh, I never thought of it that way. That's really insightful. I like that.
Like, obviously, I don't want to discredit them, because Detox
No, yes.
and Roxy and Alaska are very strong and powerful queens. But I don't know if they necessarily would have all been up at the top had it not been for the alliance, because I feel like there were some other girls that were very powerful in there, but it made better TV to hold them all together, because then it makes Jinx look that much better. Like, look how good she's doing on her own, and they're all against her. And there's
Yeah, it's
3 of
kinda-
them.
It's totally like having like 3 lights in a room versus like the one really bright one. You're like, oh wow, that one's like really a star.
Right.
It's the perfect underdog edit.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, it is.
Because you have the one competitor that nobody suspects and the 3 heavy hitters who are really throwing her every single curveball they can, and she's getting up every single time.
Yes.
And, you know, we know how the season ends, and it really... I think this is the first time we really see, like, the underdog truly win.
Yeah.
After being given so many different... I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Like,
Hurdles?
curveballs. Hurdles, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
if I'm wrong though, like Jinx. No. She was in the bottom at least once, but for the most part, she did extraordinarily well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they just didn't really like Jinx's fashion. She was only in the bottom during the ball when she lip sync. Otherwise, she was safe or high every single week, which is pretty incredible. But I think I've mentioned before that I think season 4 gave them a really good format of, here's how you do Drag Race, and here's formats, villain, hero, that type of a format. And 5 really solidified it because 5 gave us the underdog, which is more interesting than just a seasoned professional. And I think we see this echoed every other season. You go into 6, Adora becomes the underdog, Pearl's the underdog. I guess like Naomi would kind of, I don't know where she falls, but you see this echoed again and again where they're always trying to mimic what 5 did. Have a big villain fallout that has a resolve, have the person that is really like needing to win more than anyone, the person who you're sure they're going to win, which is Alaska, and then this mean villain on the side who is you want to root for but also against, being Roxy. Like, they got a really great format from this top 3, and I think this cast was such good TV, and I think that's why so many of them came back for All Stars 2. They're trying so hard to replicate the season again and again and again.
I think you're absolutely right, and that actually makes me think about what we talked about with you, how you said if you would be on this show, you would go for the villain role and you'd give them TV.
Yeah.
Is that baby?
It is. It's Poncho.
Hello, baby.
He said, hi, I have thoughts.
What do you think about Miss Roxy Andrews?
But fully, if you had been on the show and you'd done the villain era and given them the TV, though, I think you're definitely one of the personalities that it's like, you don't want to dislike this person. Like, yes, they're being portrayed as, like, the villain, but, like, you're funny and you're kind and all this stuff, that it's easy to be attracted to that sort of personality. And I think that's where they get messed up with some of the queens, not necessarily in this season, but in other seasons when they're like, look at this person, they're such a villain. But it's
right.
But no, I like them.
Right. Exactly.
Nearly everyone who gets the villain edit, the typical villain edit, we see outside of Drag Race that they're not a villain usually.
Right.
They're just a normal person who is enjoying their art craft, like their art form, and they're on a TV show at the same time.
Yeah, and definitely we're being pushed that narrative of like, oh, look at them, like this would be a really happy group without them here to like throw a wrench and to try and sabotage the queens, and we're just like, but daddy, I love him.
It's very that. And it's like production is already throwing enough wrenches in their own show. They don't need anybody else to do that. Which, on that note, I want to talk about 2 big production, I'm going to call it a blunder, on the side of the queens. There are 2 lip syncs that got meddled with. And one of those is the one where the Pointer Sisters and LaToya Jackson were there. Do you remember how Jade had that weird hair outfit?
Very vaguely.
She had like a bunch of rainbow wefts coming out of her body, and Michelle was like, why do you have hair coming out of your boobs? It's because that lip sync was supposed to be with my hair. And like hours before the runway, they changed their mind and said that it was going to be I'm So Excited.
Oh. Well,
and they already knew the Pointer Sisters were going to be there. So I don't know why they didn't have it already scheduled. But maybe it's because they knew that Coco was going to be in the bottom. So like, oh crap, we need Coco to stay. So we're going to give her a song that she'll be able to win on. And the second one was the night of the ball. They changed the lip sync song from whatever it was supposed to be to Malambo number 5 or whatever it's called. And from what Detox and Alaska have said, during the Meet the Queens, when they were all like coming in the workroom, they all could hear Jinx in her prep station singing that at the top of her lungs. And she was like just singing it all the time. And so production knew that was her song that she was going to like rock no matter how bad anybody else did. She was going to win the crap out of that song because it was her favorite one from the list. And they would talk about it all the time throughout the season, what song they would be best at. So the night of the ball, they changed the lip sync song to that one. And Detox kind of already had an idea she was going to be in the bottom. So she was like, oh, well, They just set this up for Jinx to send me home. So goodbye, everybody. And that's why she was so upset in that episode, because she knew what production was doing, and they're not allowed to talk about production.
Well, that's nasty.
Isn't it?
That's icky.
Isn't it? And I mean, I've heard of this happening in other seasons too, but I feel like it's been most egregious in 5.
Why do you think that they did that for season 5? Like,
I think they really
obviously-
wanted Jinx to win.
Yeah, like, but why? I mean, I love Jinx, but like, why push so hard to have a queen win instead of letting the competition happen and take its course?
Right.
Fully narrative, I think. You don't want one of the villains to win.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is the season where they realized this is TV. These are characters. This is not drag queens competing. And I feel like 4 was the last real competition season. This season feels like television.
No, it fully does. It definitely has
Yeah.
like its arcs. It has like its vindication. It has like the conclusion. Has the villains. Has the underdog. Has everything they wanted, and they engineered it.
Right. Because, I mean, All Stars 1, we talked about. That is a very overly produced season. But there's not really stories happening. It's just like, here's Chad Michaels, and here's everybody else getting steamrolled while Chad gets all the way to the end, even though Shad is not actually doing the best in the competition. So here it is. Where season 5, it really feels like there are these highs and lows, these twists and turns as you go. It feels like a telenovela, you know?
Definitely. I mean, I think did they film season 5 after All Stars 1 had it like aired, or was this going on at the same time?
I think it got filmed probably right afterwards, but I'm not sure the exact timing of when these got filmed.
I was gonna say, because there was a lot of things in All Stars 1 that I feel like they kind of learned mistakes from, in a sense. Because this is pure television,
Right.
whereas All Stars 1 could have been television. It could have been peak television with the amount of personalities they had on that cast. I think the teams really set them back, like we already talked about.
Yeah.
But they learned from that with this season, and they really allowed every personality to shine.
Yeah.
And they also, kind of took their storylines and ran with them at the same time.
Yeah.
Production did.
Totally. I'm doing some fact checking. So All Stars 1, the final episode aired on November 26th of 2012, and the very first episode of season 5 aired in January of 2013. So yeah, All Stars 1 had come out already, and I thought it had, but I just wanted to fact check. But yeah, no, I agree. I think this season is really fascinating to me for so many different reasons. I think this feels like the most fair bottom placement season, and I feel like the tops feel very suspicious, in my opinion, until like the halfway point of the competition.
We did get the best queens towards the top, but then I do think there was the heavy-handed of telling us who the best queens were.
Right. Linnea
Yeah.
not winning that first challenge. The improv one not being a couple of the others. I don't know. There were some interesting choices.
There fully were, but for a second, let me be devil's advocate
Yeah.
and say Drag Race is already a really weird concept for mainstream to handle. I think the overproduction, in some sense, was to make it popular mainstream.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they are sort of, demystifying drag. They are introducing all these incredible performers to a world platform. So, on one hand, we do bicker about, like, the production thing being, like, too much and it's ruining a good competition. But for a lot of people in the mainstream, this isn't a competition. This is TV.
Yes. That is very true.
So I think without the production, the heavy-handed production, we would not have Drag Race being such a loud platform as it is today.
I can see that, and I would agree with that. I think season 5 sort of set it up to be that.
Yeah, I fully agree. And it's not that I like it or that I approve of it, but in the same way, it is allowing more drag queens to come out into mainstream, to be acknowledged for their hard work, their art, and to basically show mainstream that, like, hey, drag's not scary.
Right. Drag is not harmful.
I mean, if you leave enough queens alone in a room long enough, there will be some facial damage. However, for the most part, it's fine.
Shangela and Mimi, let's call them out.
Yeah, that was sincerely like over the line for both of them.
I don't have a sugar daddy. I've never had a sugar daddy. Speaking of coming out, Monica.
Oh, don't out me.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were ready. It's Pride Month. Monica coming out on the main stage, being the first one to come out on the show as trans, was such an impactful and beautiful moment.
That was one of my favorite moments of the season.
Was it?
Yeah, it's so sweet. Because I know, like, it takes a lot to come out, one,
Mm-hmm.
and two, to do it so publicly.
Yeah.
It's very, like, admirable, and, like, I feel honored that we were able to see that
Yeah. I turn up to Monica Beverly Hills.
fully.
He's fantastic, and I don't want to like presume her experiences or speak for her or anything like that, but my thought is when you're feeling that much internal pressure to like be your best self, to be who you actually are,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes a public stage is the best, because it's like if I rip off the band-aid here,
Right.
I don't really have to keep doing it again and again because it's then public knowledge.
Right.
It's sort of like when China had like the breakdown and like had her confession, and like we just all hearts just melted for her in that moment, and then she became like just a champion for the movement for HIV.
I was thinking of Angina as you were talking about that, because it's a very public moment, and if you can get it out there, you can do it anywhere.
Exactly.
You have power. You're reclaiming that back from people who might try to take that power away from you. And that's important as queer people, that sometimes we feel very villainized for the things that are going on with us internally. And at the time, trans people were not as accepted in mainstream as they are now. Obviously, there's a lot going against them at this exact moment, but there's certainly much more acceptance of trans people now than there was a decade ago. And for her to be able to come out and reclaim that power and say, I'm not going to let you scare me into not doing this, that was a really powerful moment for Monica.
That is beautifully put. And I will say, in the queer community, there's more trans visibility.
Yes.
We still have a long, long way to go, don't get me wrong.
So much.
But as we see in later seasons of Drag Race, like the terminology gets tweaked a little. The way people are introduced or presented changes a little bit. Like, we're being a little bit more mindful. This is a very long way from like season 1, where it's just like, really, Rue? Really? So I do appreciate the growth, and I think that growth is because of people like Monica.
Right. People like Monica, people like Carmen, who are coming out and being vocal and wanting to be seen. And that's important. It's really important.
And you do not need a public stage to be seen, and you do not need a public stage to be deserving of being seen. You, whoever you are as a person, whoever you are, inside, outside, however you want to be, is deserving of being seen, of being validated, of being accepted.
Right. Speaking of being validated,
yes, Cher, what can I do for you?
I need you to tell me how pretty I am.
You are absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
today.
You are absolutely stunning from a distance with my eyes closed.
I wasn't going to go that far. But you're stunning. I know, like, sometimes this is going on to, like, Twitch stuff, not necessarily podcasts, because the listeners can't see you, but when you're on Twitch and you have those days where you don't want to be seen,
Yeah.
perfectly valid and all that, but you do put a lot of effort into how you appear for us, and we appreciate that,
I
and
do.
it's very well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
From a
M
distance with my eyes closed.
holds out mic.
I agree with Grin.
From a distance with eyes closed.
Exactly.
No, up close and personal. You are beautiful and stunning and gorgeous.
Thank you.
You look like Linda Evangelista.
I'm
You're a model.
I did stone these tights. Thank you. My anxious attachment is quelled for a couple of hours. Speaking of closing your eyes, let's talk about the worst lip sync. Well, one of the worst lip syncs up until this point. The double elimination to one of my favorite songs.
It was rough.
Oh, it was so bad.
But can we argue it was deserving that Rue was just like, I can't buy?
Right. Do you think that they were planning a double elimination?
No. Hands down, no. And we see this in other seasons where Rue is just done.
Right.
And it's just like, I cannot. How could you do this so badly? Get off my stage.
Right. Get both of you. Get out of here. This is the first time that it happens, and one of only 2 times that it's happened on the show. There's only happened one other time where 2 people have gone home. And this, I think Rue says in the season 8 finale, after she's talking to Dax and Layla, this is only the second time I've had to do it. And I felt really bad the first time that I had to do it. And looks at them like, didn't feel bad that time.
Oh, the pain, the emotional trauma. Oh, more please.
Right? So in this season, there's a double elimination and then there's a double save later. Do you think, because they obviously planned to have more episodes, or when the double elimination happened, they were planning on maybe paid for another episode. Do you think that they were going to do a pullback? Because they could have very easily been like, okay, top 5, top 6, we've made a mistake. We're bringing someone back. Do you think they would have done that instead?
Maybe. I think it's because it was so unexpected they didn't know what to do.
Mm.
And I think if they did want to bring one of the queens back, they'd have to go through Rue.
Mm.
And Vivian and Honey were definitely not coming back.
Yeah.
And so if we're wrongly discounting the early queens who left and thinking like, no, they didn't get enough face time to be relatable to the fans, that kind of thing, that kind of leaves us with Jade and Lanisha.
Mm.
Which I don't think they were favored by production.
No, especially not Jade. They kept piping in that fake laughter every time she spoke.
Yeah, so I think we weren't going to see that for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
The double elimination was a shock to everybody.
Right.
So they were kind of scrambling to figure out what to do to fill up that extra episode slot.
Mm.
And yeah, I agree with Grin. Like, they're not going to bring back Jade. They're not going to bring back Lanisha.
Right.
So what's the next plausible thing is let's throw in a surprise double save.
Mm.
But we as the viewer don't know that that's coming because that's not really something that's had like a big precedent.
Right. Other than
happen.
Yara and Carmen that one time.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. It's turned from being like a tool of no, nobody deserves to go home to
Right.
Rue kind of got a little mad, so
Right.
Rue didn't have a snack before the show.
Didn't do her coffee enema.
Yeah, basically, we're gonna have to like do a production and save you both here.
Yeah.
Well,
But
and it shows how production heavy the show has become.
Right.
As well.
Yes.
And
And it's also, I think, it shows how production has such little hold over Rue that
Fully.
Rue will fully and very happily throw a wrench into production to get what she wants, for better or for worse. And I love that it's not just production that has the final say, but there's like this powerhouse who surprises everyone, and sometimes even the judges like slowly look over, like, Rudy, do you want a Snickers?
Right. Do you need a
You all
snack?
right
Are you
there?
okay, Mom? Are you all right?
Do you need a minute?
I have a personal
Did you need to
headcanon.
breathe in the paper bag?
What was it in the end of season 2 where Tyra's like on the ground and Raven's like, she can't breathe. Can we get her a paper bag?
Does she need to breathe into the bag?
That the way that Rue handled that entire situation, just like staring at Tyra, like looking at Raven, looking back at her, like Raven's like, "Can somebody help her?" And Rue's like, "Can you do it?" Like,
Ruth's
you're
like,
right
I'm in
there.
sweatpants. I can't get up.
And that's
Awful.
why there is now a medic off camera.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not even joking. There is a
There
medic there,
is.
like, the whole time. And it's not just because of, like, fainting queens and such, but some queens have really injured themselves on that
Yeah.
runway.
Yeah.
And I think now they thought that through, and they're like, what if something really bad did happen? So
Right.
I think they made the proper choice in, I think it was season 3, they brought on a full-time medic.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm just shocked they didn't have one before.
I don't think they thought they needed it.
No, they didn't think, like, queens would keep on, like, fainting and gasping and eventually would slide into lights and all these things.
Do you remember when that was a plot line in the early seasons of Top Model? Every season up until like season 6 or 7, there was a girl who passed out from not drinking enough water, not eating enough, not sleeping enough, too much anxiety. And they had like one episode dedicated each season where someone went to the hospital and they came back and they were like, oh my God, I thought I was going to die. They said I was dehydrated. That was like a major plot point up until season 6. I cannot believe that Drag Race would not have looked at that and been like, that's probably going to happen here too.
Please, no.
It happened, Grin. It was constant. Like, I remember
can't.
one where this girl was gone the whole episode and she came back like midway through the acting challenge and she like limps in. She's like gasping, has this water bottle and is sipping on it. And she's like, oh, I'm back. I thought I was going to die in the hospital. They said I haven't been drinking enough water, which it's been at least 78 hours since I drank water. I thought I was going to be fine.
I can't. I'm leaving. Yeah, I think we, as the audience of Drag Race, would have been like, that's a step too far. Like, we're fully aware queens abuse their bodies through so much worse than not sipping a little water.
Right.
They're fine. Jujubee was fine on vodka. These queens are good.
Juju survived. They'll all be okay.
Exactly. Like, there's so much evidence to the otherwise show that, like, these queens are fine.
Right.
They're fine. We don't believe it. Get them on stage. You popped your knee? Go on stage.
Please. Poor Eureka.
I was just gonna say, what season was that?
That was
9.
Eureka.
Yeah.
Poor thing. And I mean, there have been other seasons. Willem said she had a cracked rib from the entire time from the wrestling challenge all the way until months after production, after she finished her Broadway show, her off-Broadway show that she left the show to do. And then I think Madame had an injury, and I think Chad had an injury. Someone else did from that cast too. I can't remember who it was, but there were like four of them that all had injuries from that. And then there have been others that have been really physical.
It's sort
crazy.
of like cheerleading, where you don't take it seriously because you're like, oh, how can you possibly get injured doing that?
Right.
No, it is legitimately putting your body to the limit and being like, in what ways can I fold myself to be entertaining? But not just that, but there's so many like demands on you that up your stress that of course your body's gonna snap at any minute.
Right. It's true though. Going back really quick because I want to talk about our favorite challenge, but I have this personal theory that they were saving a double save or a bring back my queens constantly. They always had it in the back of their mind that they were going to use that for Coco or Alyssa in case one of them went home. Because I think in this season, they were trying not to meddle too much with the bottoms. Because I think they thought, like, oh, that won't be fair if we hold somebody else. So I think the whole, like, Vivian and Honey thing and them underperforming so bad was a gift in disguise. Because they were like, oh, my God, we don't have to buy another episode. We can just keep our minimum amount of episodes and we'll just keep it normal. And we'll just double save in case Alyssa ends up going home. Because I fully think that she would have gone home during Whip My Hair. Because Roxy killed that lip sync.
Oh,
in my opinion.
She killed it.
That wig reveal, please.
Did you say it was Coco who was supposed to do that song?
No, I think it was they had it for the Can I Get an Amen, and that's why Jade wore that hair thing because she thought it was gonna be Whip My Hair.
Right.
And so they switched it out.
Yeah, I don't think that Jade would have made it against Roxy's wig reveal though.
No.
Like that was insane.
Right. No, that wig reveal was everything. It was so good. Really quick, do we have a favorite lip sync? That's one of mine.
Favorite lip sync? Oh, that's a good question.
They're all so good. Anything with Coco is great. But I have one in particular that's my favorite.
I really loved Jinx and Detox's lip sync.
Malambo number 5.
Yeah, that was just epic.
Yeah.
That was really good. I think, though, I really liked it was, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was, Monica and Coco, they were doing
When I
Grow
Up.
Up.
Yes! God, that's such a good lip
one.
sync.
Yep.
But again, it's Coco, so...
It's Coco.
Yes.
But Monica kept up. I really love I'm So Excited. I think Jade kept up with Coco. She's the only one, in my opinion, that kept up with her the whole time.
And it was surprising because they kept portraying, like, Jinx as, like, low energy and...
Oh, yeah.
You know, everything's okay. And then just on stage, like, just blasting this through.
Yeah, Jade killed it. I don't know. I love that lip sync. That's one of my favorites. But yeah, pretty much anything with Coco was great. Did we have a favorite challenge from this season?
I always loved the makeover challenges. And Snatch Game was... I really enjoyed this season's Snatch Game.
It's one of the stronger ones.
Yeah.
It is.
Jinx's character was amazing. Especially with her little can of cat food.
Can never tell if it's pate or giblets for the cats.
It's perfect. I love it.
Lady Bunny was done really well.
Yes.
Get your life as Tamar. So good. Roxy was sound bites this season. Since you brought up Snatch Game, I want to talk about how Alyssa Edwards killed immunity for every season going forward forever.
Yeah, about that.
That was the last episode where immunity happened, period, because it stopped season 6. And on the runway, Rue told her to tweet an apology to Katy Perry.
Yeah, it was... I love Alyssa. I think she is a great actress. It's just... In that moment...
Dua. Great actress.
In that moment... Not the best we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Embarrassing? Yes.
Yeah.
Career ending? Also yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, we love Alyssa. We just don't talk
her.
about that moment.
Right. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, there is a reason immunity is dead. And you're right. That was the killer of it.
That did. I think there were a lot of other reasons why immunity should have gone away, but that was certainly the moment. And it's interesting to see how the queens balance immunity. I think Nina got it a couple times, and you see her trying her best every single time. Tyra, anytime she had immunity, was just like, I don't need to try the challenge. that's fine. I'll do whatever I want. Sharon, every time she had immunity, was like, I'm going to do even better so that I can prove to you that I deserved this immunity. And you see Alyssa being like, immunity? Great. I'm not good at this challenge, so, oh well. Please.
I hate it.
I hate it
'Cause
too.
I love Alyssa so much.
I do too.
Ugh.
I also love the roast this season, but my favorite one is the candy ball.
I was gonna say I love the roast.
The roast was so good. What a great roast that was. They were all so funny. Well, except Roxy. And we got one of the most iconic lines. Santino Rice, can you please shut your no drag knowledge mouth? The mic.
Please, we're
The
begging
piped
you.
in mic sounds. It was all too much.
The last challenge that I really loved was the perfume one.
That one was fun too.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Rue Animal. One of the worst of the bunch. And we got Delusion. Convince yourself. God,
I did love some of them so much, but others were just like, yeah, please don't ever do this
Right.
again.
I can't believe they had to actually make a real perfume.
Right.
I would love to smell some of those.
I know,
I
right?
would not. I absolutely would not. I feel like I mention this every time this happens in a season, but I really love the transformation episode with this season was with veterans, I think.
Yes.
I love that so much.
Oh my God, Dave, who shows up next season. Dave shows up in season 6.
Does he?
Yeah, Dave's the heckler who tells Dayla to tell a joke.
Is that like planned?
I think because it's old people that are in that
Ooh.
comedy challenge, I think they were just like, hey, we have an old person that we had last time. So they call in Dave, and he's the one who says, so tell us a joke, and makes Dayla walk off stage. Which is so funny. That old man. But getting towards the end of the season and kind of wrapping up this season, we get to the end, and Jinx is the winner. Do we agree? I'm a resounding yes.
Pleasantly surprised
Mm.
because I fully thought they were going to be like, obviously it's Alaska.
Alaska was the front runner.
Yeah, Alaska has like everything they wanted, and when Jinx's name was said, I was just like in shock. I was happy. I was very, very happy, but I was just surprised that production didn't win out.
Yeah.
Or I guess, like, if you're going with the underdog story, it did win out, but it worked out in a way where I was like, yes, I'm fine with this.
Yeah. Roxy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was really happy with Jinx winning.
Yeah.
I could have been happy with any of them winning,
Mm-hmm.
but I was fully in support of Jinx.
Yeah. I was so happy that she won. And I mean, I thought it was going to be Alaska. I didn't know who it was going to be. I thought it could have been Roxy. And Roxy has said in interviews since then that whenever people ask her, how do you think you could have won season 5? She always replies, be nice to Jinx Monsoon. It's true. If she had been just nice and kind to Jinx, I think Roxy could have won. The wig reveal was enough.
I think so too, because the way the villain edit works is like the villain can never win because that's not what the vast majority of the audience wants.
Right.
And like production has to keep the audience happy. So once you're tagged as the villain, you can't win.
Unless you have a redemption, which is what Bianca did.
Yeah. And I think Roxy kind of gave herself a bit of a redemption in the future, which we'll get to. But
That All Stars redemption was beautiful.
So good.
And I think it's because Roxy behaved in a way that, like, she couldn't be edited to be the villain.
Right.
Right.
I turn up to Roxy Andrews, and I think that she did a great job. I think in every episode she was amazing. But yeah, I think it was I think Jinx has said before, people love to have a villain, but what they love more is the person who's going against that villain And unfortunately, Jinx was the recipient of that. But people love a hero. And they love someone they can root for. And I think a lot of people saw themselves in Jinx. Okay, so sort of getting to a wrap-up place here. Any final thoughts about this season? Any big moments that you look at and you're like, that was season 5?
The big moment that is season 5 for me is Alaska as Kesha in Snatch Game going pee
Or
on the
Detox?
stage. Yes, I'm so sorry. Detox as Kesha going pee on the stage. Like, it was just, that was season 5.
Yeah. Can I pee? Oh, yeah, we're almost done. Okay, I'm just gonna pee right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say there are 2 moments I think during the season. The low one being that one.
Yeah.
That was so low that it was just.
So low.
Yeah.
But then you have quite a few high moments. But I think probably the highest moment is Coco during the roast.
Yes. That was a great moment.
Such a different facet, and it almost kind of felt, I don't know, like not quite a redemption, but like a new reveal of like, no, I'm not just like the runner-up queen.
Right.
And I love that so much.
I do too. I think for me, it's Where My People At? Because that's such a fantastic moment in this season. But I think one of the low moments is the RuPaul's Out of Drag Race comment about Alaska. Because that sets up so many plot lines. And we've talked about this before. How the judges talk about, you're giving boy, you're not giving drag. Which is so silly and stupid. Because drag is all encompassing. And drag is not just about female illusion. But that sets up a lot of plot lines, especially for 6, which we'll get into. But I thought that was important.
I was actually thinking about that just the other day, where I was like, this is RuPaul's Drag Race. This isn't RuPaul's Drag Queen Race.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're female presenting, male presenting, androgynous, kooky, whatever you want to be. Like, if it's drag, it counts. I don't care what anyone else says.
Right.
Preach.
Exactly. And we see a lot of that going forward in future seasons. But
yeah,
as always, thank you so much for doing this with me. I really, really appreciate it. And I had fun this season. Season 5 was good.
Thank you. Season 5 is a good one.
Yeah, such a good one. But for everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. And we will see you very shortly, or talk to you very shortly with season 6. This is an interesting one to talk about. And remember to take care of yourself. Know you are doing a fantastic job. And you're doing the best that you can, which is all that you can do. And we will talk to you soon. Goodbye.